Welcome to Beach Jam Media, your resource-driven oasis with your host, Jennifer Corbin-Carson. Join us each week as we dive into hot topics and essential materials for individuals and businesses. We invite you to get your feet wet and explore life's offerings. From insightful discussions to practical advice, we're here to navigate the tides of change together. Come join us for Beach Jam Media, where knowledge flows endlessly and where the currents of insight never stop. So come on, let's get our feet wet and explore what's waiting for us on the beach.
Good morning and welcome to Beach Jam Media. I am in the car today because I had some things I had to do for the business, but I am glad that you guys are here today with me. And we're in the future, we're going to be doing a military minute. And that is comprised of, the resources for veterans and active duty personnel. So you can pop in and get to us every Wednesday and watch it, and we'll have the military minute. The best resource that we've had this week is from the VA. On va.gov, there's a home-based primary care program that was highlighted last week in our podcast. So if you missed that one, we were with Jennifer Sizemore, and she is part of that program for the Dublin VA here in Georgia, and she was on last week. So if you need to go back and watch that again or get information from it, go ahead, go back and rewatch that one, or email us and we can get some resources out for you. So my name is Jennifer Corbin-Carson. I guess I'm kind of doing this a little bit backwards, so bear with me. But my name is Jennifer Corbin-Carson, and I am your host for Beach Jam Media. I am a veteran and entrepreneur, and actually have pretty much some things in common with our guest today. So let's get into this and meet our special guest after this. Oh, I thought we were going to do something else. Okay. Hi, David.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Outstanding. Good day here so far already.
That's great. That's great to hear. That's always good in business, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Sure is.
Yeah. So we have a few things in common. Your sister being one of them.
Yep, Jennifer.
Jennifer. Yep. And we are both veterans, and we both own engraving businesses, laser businesses. So why don't you give our viewers a little bit of your background and what service you were in and how you got to where you are.
Okay. Well, David Vargas, owner of Veteran Laser Works, LLC out here in Palm Harbor, Florida. I was United States Air Force, 22 years retired. Basically, when I got into the Air Force, I did 4 years active, then 18 National Guard. And then when I left, most of my family was down here in Florida anyways. So I just decided to, up north, New England, Rhode Island to be specific. And I just got tired of the snow, so I came down to Florida. And I started off over on the East Coast, over near Patrick Air Force Base, Cocoa area. And then I wound up at another military community up in the Jacksonville area. And then I decided to come out to the West Coast, over here at the Gulf side. And that was about almost 4 years ago at this point. So this is where I consider home now. I traded all my sunrises in for sunsets. So, and so when I came out here, laser engraving was not anything that was on my radar. In fact, I actually had a gun company for a while. And I was less lethal guns and actual real steel guns. And I had a lot of people asking me if I did any engraving for them, specialty engravings for, stippling the hand grips, stuff of the sort like that. So I picked up a small little hobby laser, was able to knock off a couple of those things, and it just kind of sat around and collected dust after a while. And I actually have a background in graphic design anyways. But my sister, as our mutual friend here, She actually had wanted me to do some rocks, some little rocks for an event that she had. So I laser engraved about 100 rocks for her, and it was a hit. Everybody that was over there, her vendors, everything was sort of like that. They fell in love with the rocks, and next thing you know, I was being known as the rock guy. So from the rocks to just that one event had people who owned it was the wine club. There were a couple different vendors that were over there, and they just started asking me if I did wine glass, if I did this, I did that, and I haven't didn't do any of them, but I just knew that I could. So I volunteered and I said, yeah, I'll do it. And that's how I learned. I just kind of threw myself in the deep end of the pool with orders, and I never did anything. So it was a lot of trial and error. As you know, in the laser engraving business, there's always a mistake. There's always something. No matter how good you get, you're throwing out some wasted products, stuff like that. I went through numerous wine glasses to get it done right, but it paid off because word of mouth happened extremely fast out here in Palm Harbor, and it was my first sets of customers were all companies. They were all businesses looking for basically business merchandise, and that's how it kind of exploded. And then from there, there was an opportunity that I seen, but it wasn't really meant to be an opportunity. It was the Chamber of Commerce they had out here in Palm Harbor, which I'm now an ambassador of. I work with them as well as membership coordinator also. But they have a major gala that they have every year, and they decided that they were going to have a Veteran of the Year award, law enforcement and fire department, of the year. So I had asked if I can just volunteer and make a flag design, which I love making for the Veteran of the Year award, and then that just led into making the rest of them. And that was it. They were big hits. Everyone fell in love with them. I became a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and then my business literally just took another level up just by being in the Chamber of Commerce because every time there were awards that needed to get done, I was the guy. And that's about it. So from that point forward, the laser engraving company started working out well. We opened up the Pinellas County Veterans Association, which is based out of the Chamber of Commerce. So that turned into a very large organization of gatherings of the local veterans, providing resources, information, pointing people in the right direction. And then we launched a book on top of it called Veteran Voices, which we just compile all the stories of local veterans in all the 5 counties. And then we go from there. So we're going to have to get you in there as well. That's pretty much where I'm at in a nutshell.
Wow. That's a great story. And you know what? It's very similar to mine as well. So I
Really?
went down that rabbit hole. When we moved out to Georgia, we lived in Colorado, actually not too far from Jennifer. And that's how we met.
Colorado,
and so, yeah. We lived up in Black Forest, and she lived in not Fountain, the one out east. Anyways,
yeah.
So so when we moved here to Georgia, it was okay. What am I going to do? I had a government job before, and there were no leads, no jobs here that I was getting bites on. And so I was like, well, I went down that rabbit hole. I'm like, well, how do they do this?
Exactly.
And then that's how my business took off too, was word of mouth, right? But I think this incorporates a lot of resources for veterans who want to be in entrepreneurship, because you mentioned the Chamber of Commerce. That is a great resource for people who want to get their business out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I know ours do. They do a ribbon cutting. You become a member, and then they do a ribbon cutting for you, which is fantastic. Right. Because it gets it out there in the community, especially businesses like ours who focus on businesses. And that's my focus as well. It's, supporting the businesses and getting their names out there. And, that's, I mean, how else do you have, that community? How else do you get access to that community? There's no better way than the chamber, right? So,
Absolutely. I mean,
and
you have those other networking groups, you have the Rotary, you have a lot of local networking groups. I've always believed in never, me personally, I don't do the BNIs, I don't do those type of groups, stuff of the sort like that.
yeah,
It's just the Chamber of Commerce. I suggest everybody join your local Chamber of Commerce if you're looking, because that's the name, that's their title. They're meant to build and improve commerce in the local town that you're in. So all resources go directly to that. If it's a good chamber, of course, and they provide resources. But you're
right,
exactly right. Everyone should be joining the Chamber of Commerce, especially if they're looking for a start off, launching a business, something like that. That'd be the best place to go. The Small Business Development Center is normally tied in
right,
with some of them. They normally
yes,
have one or two different representatives that they're on loan to the chamber for the most part. So they are a
right,
major resource for brand new people who don't even have a website yet. They just became incorporated, just grabbed their
right,
LLC, and now what do? Go to the Chamber of
right, right.
Commerce.
Right, right. And that's part of our resources is that, we help guide those people um, into that arena, into that business arena. Like you said, I have my LLC, now what? So it's all a matter of who that knows how to do what you want to do, right?
Right.
And that's part of our resources as well as veterans, and as you're obviously like-minded. We are obviously like-minded in that we want to get those resources out there for veterans. And so, I heard you say the Pinellas County, there's a veterans resource
The Pinellas
page.
County Veterans Association.
Okay.
The Veterans
Okay. So,
Association. So it was just, yeah, the chamber just, there wasn't a lot of outreach I noticed for veterans. I kept meeting veterans out here, but there wasn't a real
mhm,
outreach. There were a couple organizations, there were a couple things going on. Couple people, you only really see them around the big holidays, the Memorial, the Veterans, the 4th of July
right.
days, and that's it.
Yep.
They disappear again. So, yeah, as a chamber of commerce, a lot of people think of it as a town hall. Especially here in Florida, we have a lot of transient people, and they will contact the Chamber of Commerce at all times just for a basic, how do I do this, that, and the other thing. When we get information looking for veteran resources, there was none. So we just created one.
Oh, that's a great idea, because you and I need to talk a little bit more
Yeah.
offline, because I mean, that would be great for I mean, I live in a small town, but I had a job, and I was a pharmacy tech, and I kept meeting, veterans, and, government workers, and the people that would go in, like the National Guard, right?
Yeah.
So they come in uniform on their 1 week in a month, and so I keep meeting these people. And when I have my Navy hat on, because I was Navy, I wasn't in the chair force, sorry.
That's okay. You just had better
my
food. We're good.
right. Yeah, my husband was Air Force, so I tease him all the time about that.
Yeah.
But so there's really not that I found, there's really not a good veterans outreach. So I would need to talk to the chamber here. But I mean, it's fantastic that you saw a need and
Hmm.
developed the programs that the veterans need, and that's what we're about as well. And so maybe we can post the link to the veterans associations that you have
Hmm.
created or know of in your area, and when this
Yes,
posts on YouTube, we can post it as well. So I mean,
absolutely.
that's just great. Yeah, that's just great information for people in that area, and for other people too, because if they see what the chamber has done in your area, maybe they can look up and see, oh, well, what, does my chamber have this?
Hmm.
So it gets the
Exactly.
ball rolling and it gets the questions asked. I say, it's got to be the questions. You have to start with the questions. And if you don't know what questions to ask, here we are, So,
Right. Right.
but so what, and we're part of the Reinvented Life Network as well.
Okay.
So it's all about reinvention. And how did you make that transition from that military mindset? And you always have that military mindset, I get that, but how did you transition from that military mindset to being an entrepreneur? I mean, I know there's a lot that's the same, but a
Mm-hmm.
lot of it's different, especially in civilian life,
Yes.
and so how did you make that transition?
Well, in all fairness, maybe I had a leg up on it. Period. I've pretty much had the entrepreneurial spirit ever since I was a kid. I was creating things and selling things when I was, 10, 12 years old. So I've always had that entrepreneurial spirit anyways. When I got out of the military and, finally I started off actually with doing affiliate marketing because that was back in 2015, really. I was in the National Guard for, majority of my military career, so I was always in the civilian sector for the most part anyways. So I started with the affiliate marketing, the multi-level marketing. I did everything I could to just get my network because at the end of the day, the one thing that military veterans have that not a lot of other entrepreneurs have is your network. And the way
Hmm.
they say it is your network is your net worth. So when you start realizing how to monetize your network and not really talking about putting dollar signs on people's heads, just saying that you have a network, it's much just like being out here on the East Coast and you have a normal job or a family life, really, it's really hard to balance out like when do I have that extra couple of hours a day to actually build my business that you want to build or go forward with your passion. Well, you have to learn to go ahead and occupy the time zones. So while I'm on the East Coast and it was, okay, my son's asleep, everyone's done right now, it's 8, 9 p.m. At my side, I start picking up the phone then at 9, 10 o'clock p.m. because now I'm buying back 3 hours of my life and started in California. So most of any businesses I started off with clientele out on the West Coast or somebody that had earlier time zones, and I was able to buy my time back hour by hour, and that's pretty much it. Did they have to actually sit there and stay up till 11, 12, 1 a.m.? Absolutely. But again, part of the military is you do what you have to do to get the job done, right? So it's a temporary situation. And that's what I did. It's just I started slowly and I just started with clientele on any other time zone other than mine. And that was pretty much it. So was it a transition? Not so much, in all fairness, because you're taking exactly what you learned in the military as far as the tenacity, the consistency with is key with any business is achieving any goal is just consistency. Even if it's 1% a day, but it's the every day, it's the full 365 that matters, not the amount that you put effort you put forward. It's how long you do it consistently. And that's really the big takeaway I took from the military of, the patience, hurry up and wait, and everything else that we have to do. Just hurry up and wait to go nowhere and to be first in line for no reason and all these other things. Just to have that sprinting mentality to, as I say, sprinting activity with marathon mentality. You just kind of have to hang tough. And unfortunately, that's another thing, especially if you're a retired veteran. Um, you do have that longevity mentality. You do sit there and say, a lot of things change, but that's that 20-year mark. That's where it gets nice. So that's pretty much how it worked for me. Just I stayed focused on what it really was. Like same thing with the military, staying focused on the mission, doing what you have to do, ignoring the things that try to pull you away from it, trying to buy back some of your time, forcing yourself to do what successful people do, what unsuccessful people are unwilling to do, which is staying up a little bit later, waking up a little bit earlier, and doing those things, regardless of the business model that you're focused on,
Right.
in my eyes.
Absolutely. Those are all great. No, they're great points because that's exactly what, entrepreneurs do, and I keep I tell people this all the time. They make the association with, or make the disassociation, I guess you would say, against like big box stores. Like, for example, Microsoft, right? That was born in a dorm room, right?
Right.
And they worked their butts off to get where this company's at now. Yeah, it's a multi-billion-dollar company, but you know what? They started out just like you and I did. So when
Exactly.
you think you want something for free from these companies, you're taking from their livelihood. It's not, it all goes back to those basics. And, they all started where you and I started ours. Mine started in the garage,
Yeah.
and, we went to a bigger building, but, I refuse to get a building right now. So it is what it
Same.
is.
Same. It's
Yep.
it's nice. It's nice when you have no overhead. It's kind of hard when you
Yes.
have zero overhead. It's like this is
Yes.
nice. Got
Right.
a laser project working in one laser, another laser working over there. What do you do for the next 45 minutes? I go take the dog for a walk real quick.
Yep.
I know
Yeah.
you're not supposed to leave the laser. Don't ever follow us. You're not supposed to leave
No.
the laser unattended.
You are not, because so one of my friends actually did that. Sidebar for a second. One of my friends actually did that. He had a
Yeah.
shop separate from his house. He went he went back to the house for a minute to grab something to eat. Literally 3 minutes later, he walked out and his shop was engulfed in flames because he was lasering some acrylic
Mm.
and he lost everything.
Yeah.
He's
No, the only time I ever
he
left
just got back on his feet.
it alone was when I'm doing cork coasters or something like that, because they're non-flammable.
Yeah,
However, the machine
yeah,
can still actually catch, and that's the thing. The machine itself can actually.
exactly.
That's all. But that's another story.
Yep, right. But yeah, no, that's great. I did have a little bit of a problem transitioning when we moved here, but that was because I think it was a spiritual thing, and God was finally saying, hey, this is your chance, because I've had an entrepreneurial spirit as well for a long, long time, and God was finally saying, okay, here's the kick in the butt, let's go. So, but
That's the other
yes,
big
give me,
point too, is paying attention
yes,
to which way the wind is blowing for you. You have to pay attention to that.
absolutely. Absolutely. And reinventing yourself along the way, along with your business. Because
Hmm.
if you're doing something in your business that's not making money, but then, something else is creeping in, and,
Hmm.
you're going with the flow with what society
Hmm.
wants, right?
Right.
And yeah, so that's reinventing, and that's risk taking, really, and
Yes.
going forward with your business. So you have to be fluid in your business model, but
Right.
you still want to be true to your business model. So, and
Of
that's
course.
what a lot of the Beach Jam media is being fluid and going with the waves, or whatever washes up in life, right? So
Right.
you have to still be fluid, but you still need to stick to your values, your morals, and your business model.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
It's paramount how
yes,
many times we have to reinvent ourselves. And I've met numerous people throughout the decades. Oh my God, I'm going to have to do this too. This is my second time, third time. I was like, if you haven't reinvented yourself 5, 6, 10 times, you're not there yet. It's like you're
right,
constantly reevaluating, redoing this, reinventing, starting back from zero again. But the true
right,
entrepreneur spirit, it's not something you can be taught. It just is what it is. And you just have to, that old saying, you get knocked down 8 times, stand up 9, and just keep going to the
right,
next one. And you just, like you said, you just have to, the power of the pivot. You have to know when to pivot. Military, again, adapting and overcoming, and just understanding, believing that whatever comes your way, you are going to get through it. You're going to see it through, and plant good seeds, good soil. You're just going to come out to the other side. It's just is what it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, thanks
And
for
it
having
was
me.
a pleasure meeting you. And we need to connect outside of this.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
um, I tell people where they can get a hold of you and if they want
Mhm.
to order things from your business.
Okay. Well, veteranlaserworks.com. It's Laserworks, that's spelt there. It's LASERWORX, a little spin on that. So it's veteranlaserworks.com. You can also visit me, find me at theveteranvoices.com as well. That's, the book collection that we're doing. That's an easy way to get a hold of me through there as well. And then my email address and my phone number, if I can provide that for you, or it'll be here in the link. Same thing. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
or
great.
Facebook. You
And
can
we'll
always
put
find
a
me. You can always find it on Facebook as well. So, where I post most of my work actually. So,
perfect. We will put a link up for the book as well.
yes, please do.
And whatever other resources you have for us to put up. So,
Of course.
again, thank you very much, and I look forward to speaking with you in the near future.
Very good. Thanks again. I greatly appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too.
Bye-bye.
In the calm of early morning, when the day begins anew, we pause to reflect. May holds a special significance beyond just being another month. It is time for solemn remembrance, gratitude, and honoring those who've made tremendous sacrifice for our freedom. To all who served in the military, across all branches, and the National Guard, to the veterans, and to the families who support them through thick and thin, we express our heartfelt thanks. Your courage, sacrifice, and unwavering dedication inspired us deeply. As we commemorate Military Appreciation Month, we recognize the importance of standing by our newest recruits. Those brave individuals venturing into an unknown, responding to duties called with determination, deserve our utmost respect and guidance. Equally important is our commitment to support those actively serving in the Air Force, Coast Guard, Army, Navy, Marines, Space Force, and National Guard. Whether deployed abroad or stationed at home, they carry out their duties with honor and integrity. It is our responsibility to ensure they have the resources, care, and unwavering support necessary to fulfill their missions. So, as we observe Military Appreciation Month, let's unite in gratitude and solidarity. Let's honor the past, support the present, and inspire the future. To all who serve, have served, and those who stand beside them, we extend our deepest appreciation. Happy Military Appreciation Month.
Thank you for tuning in to Beach Jam Media with your host, Jennifer Corbin-Carson. We hope today's dive into hot topics and valuable resources left you feeling refreshed and inspired. Our mission is to keep you informed and engaged as we ride the waves of what washes up in life together. Until next time, stay curious, keep the conversation flowing, ask questions, and let the glisten of the shoreline guide your journey. Goodbye.